Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn Software Development. Today we are going to create the Hello World program. Hello World is a typical, very well-known program that everybody creates when starting to program, when they jump into software development and as programmers. It's something you don't have to do, but it's a fun little tradition and I like to keep it up for future generations. And how Hello World works in Godot, you can actually get very creative with it, but I'm going to do the first version of it in a traditional way. So console output printing, don't worry, that'll all become clear to you as we go by. But the point of this is to take our first look at the Godot engine, see where things are at, and get something working. Get your hands down and dirty with programming. Not too dirty, very simple stuff we're going to do here. So that's what's in store. Simple, hey, it works. Things are working as expected. Good baseline to continue forward with. So let's get into it before I blabber on too long. So in the previous video we installed Godot. That means we downloaded a zip file, unzipped it, and placed the executable to a smart place. I have mine here in the downloads, applications, and there Godot version 4.0 stable Linux x86_64. I've also started here for quicker access, especially if you're using Linux. You can do that really simply by right-click and I think it was star. Yeah, I have unstar, but if it were something you haven't starred, there'd be a star. At least in Ubuntu 2204 version, which is the one I'm running. Similar things, I believe, are also available for Mac OS and Windows. But you just need to get to the executable. Either have a link to it, shortcut, or here a shortcut from the start place that I have here, and double click it to run it. So Godot version 4.0. Let's open that up now. There, it's here. And in my Godot version 4.0 install video, I had a Hello World program there, but I removed that now from this project list to kind of get the original view available for you guys so that it's easier for you to follow what's going on. The first time opening Godot engine, you get to the project manager and then it's saying you don't have any projects. Would you like an example project from the asset library? Not a bad idea if you know what you're doing and want to browse around, but for this video course we don't need that because I'm here to help you build stuff from scratch. So we're going to click cancel here. Next up, we will go to new project. Oh, by the way, if you want to change your language, here's a good choice to do it. You can change it to one of the supported languages. Incidentally, I'm Finnish, so I could choose Finnish from here as well. And it works pretty well, the translations in Finnish. I also know Turkish. That works as well, and some Swedish. But English is the one that has the largest support, or that's basically the language in which it was built in, not programming language, natural language that's in the user interface. So I'm gonna keep it English, and if you can follow in English, I hope you can, because I'm also speaking English now. So it makes sense to keep it the same, so it's easier for you to follow what I'm clicking and see the exact terms that are being passed around. Also, the documentation is more extensive in English than in other languages, so another reason why sticking to English could help you. But of course, it does have these supports here, so feel free to try them out if you find some other language easier to use in the user interface of the engine. Alright, that was a sidetrack. Now let's get back to creating a new project. So we click this plus new project button here, and we're brought up here to this create new project wizard. Now it's giving me a yellow exclamation point and saying that the selected path is not empty. Choosing an empty folder is highly recommended. Highly recommended, you don't have to. Well, this is my home directory in my file system, my user's home directory. I don't want it there. I actually have a place ready for those. And before I create a project folder, I can create it here. I'm going to browse over to the place where I want the project to be stored. So this is my file system, home fishfood89. And I also recommend that you place the project, the Godot engine project, to some place that makes sense for yourself. Not necessarily desktop or the kind of documents root folder or your home folder of your user, because they can get a bit cluttered. So how I've solved this is I have a fishfood89 folder to which I put all the fishfood89 projects. I'm actually going to be changing between folder and directory quite a lot. Here I said folder, here it says open a directory. They are the same thing in this context. Directory, folder, both of them work, both of them understandable. So now I'm navigated to home fishfood89, fishfood89. I have a dedicated directory. Now I already swapped it. Directory folder for this course. And then here I have another directory for software we create during this course. So I'm going to open that. For some reason it has these funny boxes, but I'm going to go and select, now that I'm inside that, this software. It's a little buggy there. Inside this, from here, if I go to the end of this software directory, which I just went into, I can select that one. Okay, so home, fishfood89, fishfood89, learn software development and software. Cool. So that's an empty directory. Now it's not saying that there's something in it already. It's giving me a green check mark. That's cool. And it actually picked up a suggestion for the name of the project based on the empty directory. It's like, hey, it's software. That's great software. I'm actually now going to create a new project. I want all the projects to be in this directory, so I'm going to type here hello_world. And for the sake of making life easier for yourself, I suggest typing out exactly as I did here. Of course, your path is going to be different, but here, the project name. And now I'm going to do create folder. See how Godot also is changing between folder and directory in itself. But now I created folder, now that's grayed out. I can't do anything with that anymore. Let's go to the end, and it created a new hello world directory, and that's the project we're going to create. Nice. Let's see, what else do we have here? Forward plus, mobile, compatibility. This is for desktop and mobile platforms, less scalable. Okay, and compatibility. Least advanced 3D graphics. Alright. Fastest rendering of simple scenes. Well, if forward plus, that has the latest of the advanced 3D graphics things available for rendering, if this seems very slow and hard to use, try mobile. And if that's hard, try compatibility. The stuff we do in this course is not going to be that advanced graphically, so any one of these should be fine for that. Just in case your computer is not that powerful and has problems with forward plus, choose a smaller, an older or less advanced renderer. Even I don't know how this is going to work on my computer. I've never tried it out before, so I might have to change it myself. But it could be changed later from the project properties, I believe. But now that we have selected the renderer, we have the project name, an empty folder to which we put it to, we'll click Create and Edit. So it will create the project and take us to the edit view of the engine, which is where the so-called magic or the creative work happens. Alright, Godot game engine loading up. And there we have it. This is the default view you get when you come to the Godot engine. And before we jump deeper, let's have a look. This is the 3D view. You can use your mouse to turn the view around, and if you do a 3D game and those kind of things, they'd be around here. But this is something we're going to need to look at immediately. We're not going into 3D stuff here during this course. But this file system, so res, I believe is short for resource. This is linked to the empty folder we just created into our file system. It's been named res here, and the project properties and settings are the ones that link up the paths. But this is just for simplicity's sake. We don't really need to see the full path here in the game engine, because everything related to the project is in the same folder, so they can do this little shortcut trick here. But just to kind of prove that I'm not talking nonsense, let's go into the file system. Let's bring it up close to this. And I'm going to navigate to where I created this Hello World directory to. And here we have icon svg, and then we have import and project.godot. So this icon here is the same one here. This import information is metadata for the engine so that it's able to import it. Or, yeah, because it has been imported, it has this .import file, and project.godot, this is the file that contains our project settings. So they are not here visible because they are already loaded into the project itself. So they get loaded into here, project settings. But enough about that. We're gonna get to use that very soon. Now here, what we'll do first is we'll create a root node. Here it's already giving us suggestions. We're gonna be creating a user interface root node, the green one. It's also a bit confusing that says user interface, because when we click it, it's gonna say control. User interface is easier to understand when you're kind of getting into the engine the first time and thinking of what would you like to start off with. But the real name of the node, the class of the node, is control. Same thing here. Now, with nothing selected, I clicked here to this empty spot. We have nothing highlighted here. We have these little colored lines helping us, but if I click control, it'll have this orange highlight here. This is the control node in 2D view. We're not in 3D. There's nothing to see here because this control is a 2D node, so we'll see it here. And we're going to start off with the Hello World part now. So we have this node, because without it we can't do anything. And now we're going to right-click and attach script. Script is the kind of file that we will be using for programming. Scripting, programming, interchangeable here. But it's called GDScript, so we attach a script to this node. Language is going to be GDScript, and it's the only one available here. Inherits control, yes, we want that. And we want it to be so that it links directly to that control node. Class name not applicable, it's fine. Template, let's have the default here for just for show purposes. Built-in script, we'll have that off. We want to be able to have a separate script file for this, so it's not going to be built and baked into this control. If I do this, I believe this path will disappear. Yeah. And it has less features and limitations. Yeah. So we're going to have it like this. And now what we're going to do here, it has this warning here that it's the same as the built-in type is not desired. It's fine. The style conventions, at least in Godot 3, was that all of these files should be snake-cased. So I'm just going to take the capital C and make it into a lowercase c. And here you can see it's res, and then it goes here. So it's going to be saved here when we create it. You can, of course, choose another place, but Let's put it right here as it's here. So double check and make sure that these configurations are the same for you, and then let's create it. Alright, now here we see in the file system doc here that we have control.gd. And now actually to kind of just to quickly show that this res here is in fact the same folder to which we created the project. There, we have the control.gd now appeared here, timestamp 2044, so just when it was created. So there you have it. But alright, getting here into the programming part. So now we're in the script view. We're no longer in 2D, we're in script. Here on the left we can see which script we have selected for editing. And here are methods that are already here. It picks it up from here nicely. And there's a mini map here that you can drag. And yeah, just a few things that you can see here, but those will become clearer in the future. But what's important here is that we have this extends control. So then the wizard there, when we were creating this and attaching this script, it says inherits control. Yes, it inherits control, but the way in GDScript you say that this is inheriting control is with the keyword extends. So this we need in the top. This process function here, we can delete completely. We don't need that at all. These things came here from the template, which is nice, the default template for the script. And this ready function is something that we need. We know it's a function because it has the func keyword before it. And this is the function's definition. We'll get to definitions and calling and stuff like that later. This line here that starts with a hashtag is a comment. This is also a comment that's here after this. Comments in programming languages are text that will not be read by the computer. So it's not going to be a part of the software that's finished. It's just a comment for the programmer. You can make a note to yourself or comment or note about a code to someone else in the team if you're working in a team. So here it's commenting and saying that this function ready is called when the node enters the scene tree for the first time. That's when this node enters the scene. That'll become clear later. For now, we can take that off. And we're going to replace, as this comment says, with function body. So if I just take this off from here now, without this pass is a special word, that means just skip this line. But if we didn't have this pass, we'd get an error here. There's nothing after the function declaration. That's a problem. This function should do something. Originally this function just passed, did nothing. But this is the place where we are going to replace the pass with the hello world. So what hello world does is we print to the screen the words hello world. I'm alive. If you were Dr. Frankenstein, you'd write it's alive. But we'll do hello world now. You can try it's alive yourself if you want. But the way we will do it here is by calling a print function. Print is a function built into Godot. So we'll type in print. It's got all kinds of other versions of it here that it's suggesting, but we're taking print. And then we put opening and closing parentheses. Then we put double quotes. It'll automatically give you the opening and closing ones, but inside double quotes is where we put the text. Double quotes are important. We'll get to them later with more specific information about why and what they are. But here inside the double quotes, we will type in hello world. And then that's it. We're done. Let's take this extra line away from there. It just bothers me stylistically. And now we need to save it. This is unsaved. It has an asterisk there. This is also unsaved and asterisk. These are two different things. The script is unsaved, and this means the scene is unsaved. So we have this scene to which we had created the user interface of the control node, but we've never saved the scene. We don't have a scene file here. So if you go to scene and save scene or Control S, I'll click it from here, but usually I use Control S. it'll then ask you to save the scene as, and here we have again this internal res thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save the scene. I'm going to call this hello world, and we want to keep the .tscn as the file type, which is the file type for scenes. And save. And now we have it here. It has this little nice kind of I don't remember what that is, but you know, for movies, when you start a scene, it goes click, and then you know how to synchronize sound and video. And it has some meta information as well as to what scene, what take. So it's got that there to indicate that this is a scene, and this is a script because it's got a cog. So, but now it's saved. We have hello world there, control.gd. We can actually hover over here to control and hover over this little script icon here, this little paper roll thing here, and it says open script and then res :/ control.gd. So here we can confirm that this script is attached to this node. Now we're good to go. If everything looks like this on your screen, then we can play the scene. We can play it by choosing just play scene, or we can play the full application from beginning by run project. Play and run mean the same thing. Start something. Run the project. Running is something you use a lot in software development in the industry. Playing, not so much, but it's a play button, so you easily say play the project. Okay, it says run project F5 and then play the project. As you can see here, they mean the same thing in this context. So we'll play the project now. Don't be surprised if I say run. Let's click that. And then it says no main scene has never been defined. Select one. You can change it later in project settings under the application category. Well, yes, we'll select the current scene, which is the only scene, which is the scene from which we were in here in this tab, and click play. It needs a scene. The application needs a scene so that it knows what it needs to load first when the application is started. So this is our own application, and it's going to run it in debug mode now. So this is not a fully ready application that you can share with others, but that's more than enough for our purposes for a long time to come. So choose the select current, and there. That's it, we get a gray box. Hello world debug. But this is not the hello world we printed. Where did that go? The answer lies here. It came to the output. And there we have hello world exclamation point. We can close the application, our debug version of our first ever application, from X here or stop button there. Let's just go to this X there. And now we still see it, but here we have this output, which gives you kind of development debug output, which is very handy when developing software. And it's saying debugging process started, which is when we press the play here, and now it was stopped. And then some other information about my graphics and what renderer, so it's using Vulkan, Forward Plus, and then the engine version. So that's nice. But there's hello world. To make this a bit more interesting, now that we've done the official hello world part, let's do the print it's alive. 3 exclamation points. Now if we run it again, we're going to get hello world and it's alive printed here. What print does, it prints to the output, not to the control or anything else. It always prints here to the output, mainly used for debugging purposes, but still a working application that's doing something we told it to do. There you have it. Hello world, it's alive. Hooray for us. And now I'm going to close this by pressing the stop button here, just to demonstrate that it works. There, that's no longer a kind of rollback or reload icon, it's a play icon. And to prove that it's actually off, if I minimize this, I don't have the application window here anymore. So, everything's saved, we've gotten our hello world working, got the first feel for the Godot engine. Next time, we're going to continue off on this hello world by adding some button that's going to do some not so fancy, but some more interactive things. So we're going to actually next time get to draw a button, at least one button here, to this actual application, interact with it, and have it do something for us. Then we'll continue with the same Hello World project, just taking Hello World a bit further. But now that that's done and over with, oh, here's actually where you can change the renderer. Yeah, FYI. I'm going to keep as forward plus as it worked fine for now. And close the engine, like so. And that's it. Thank you everyone for watching so far. I hope to be releasing videos in a quicker schedule than so far in the near future. So stay tuned and have a nice rest of the day. Signing out. Goodbye.